Hey folks, how is your foot? Hopefully it wasn't too hard, but I do think it was one of those drawings that will definitely test your patience, and it's about to do that even more. So this is brilliant training for our yearly project. This time we're going to refine the edges because at the minute it's very angular and that's not really what a foot looks like. And then we're going to add the shadings. So the shading is quite technical in this one because there's a few soft wrinkles going on and a few really hard edges. So that's great, but we need to be a little bit more delicate in some places and a little bit firmer in others. So grab your pencils and let's start on the shading stage of our foot. Now, our drawing looks okay. It definitely does look like a foot, but we need to soften a lot of the edges. Now, your outline that you have is a rough guide to where all your curves and your edges should be. So don't be afraid to, really carve away at it. Imagine your foot at this stage is a piece of marble and you're chiseling away to make the toes nice and round, to make the ankle much softer, and to just in general improve the drawing a lot more. So this part of the drawing, it does involve a lot of observation. Make sure you're looking at the printout and make sure you are taking your time on it and just taking each line as it comes. Now, another challenge we have at this stage is to draw the outline of the shadows. We didn't have as much detail where the shadows were as our leg. So instead, we really have to figure this out by ourselves, which is great. It means we get to be challenged, we get to be pushed, and we get to improve our drawing skills. Now, you can apply a method that suits you. Maybe you want to measure how far the shadows go. You want to see the curve, and you can check that by the angle of your pencil. But it will take a little bit of time just to get the shadows in the right place. Now, once you've done that, you're going to go for some block shading. So anything that's in shadow is incredibly dark. It doesn't mean all of your shadows are black. It means they are very, very close to black, because if you look closely at the foot, there is a little bit of detail where the toes cross over, or where the toes touch the I don't know what you call that, underneath the toes, the ball of your foot maybe. You can just see a little bit of darkness to differentiate that they really do go in deep. So if you wanted to be a little bit cautious, you might just shade it in like a medium to dark grey. And then once you're happy with how it looks, then you start pushing it in with your 8B. So where it's black, make sure you shade it black. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be shy. Don't make it value 2 or 3 on the scale. Make it value 10. Your edges may need changing, or they will need changing eventually, but you can give yourself a bit of a buffer. So shade it a little bit shorter than what you think the edge is, because it just gives you a bit of peace of mind. And if you need to make any changes, you can without damaging the paper. But make sure you're really going to town on this darkness. We should have a lot of confidence now in how dark we can shade. So really, really just go for it. For anything that's a little bit lighter, you can go at it with an air of caution, but still make sure it has that dark value attached to it. Now, when you come to any really light shading, use your 2B for this and have it as a bit of a rehearsal. So place a bit of shading in. Don't worry about the edge so much just yet, but we'll just use the 2B to soften the edges, to get some of those wrinkles on the base. I nearly said palm of the foot. I guess that does make sense. But do we have a word for underneath the foot? The sole. I think it's the sole. So yes, use your 2B just to gently place some detail on the sole of the foot. And then you want to introduce your 2H. So this is when we really slow down the drawing. Your 2H, as we know by now, it really refines the drawing. It gets rid of any white bits in a dark patch or any grainy bits in a light patch. And you want to try and use your 2H as an accurate tool. Rather than something that just scribbles on top of everything, you're considering every small piece of detail now. So the edge, is it a small or is it a large gradient? The texture in the dark bit, are there any little pockets that need to be wiggled out? Just wiggle that pocket out. Don't worry about, not don't worry, sorry. Don't just shove your 2H on there because you think, oh, 2H time, wiggle, 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 because it really, you can tell a careful drawing from a drawing that has just kind of been thrown on there. So you see how much time I've spent on this little area and the difference it makes. It looks incredibly realistic now because I'm focusing. I'm seeing, is it a sharp edge next to the toe? Is it a soft edge on the shadow which curves around the toe? So really enjoy this time. Really, really improve your observational skills and focus. Look at the drawing. Look at the picture of the drawing way more than you look at your own drawing. That's what makes a difference between a good drawing and a really good drawing. And when it comes to those incredibly light bits, just remember the position of your hand is what will make it light. So try and be really soft on those areas because you don't want to push those too hard and make it stand out way too much. And if you want the downloads team, head on over to Patreon and just pledge £3 a month and you can get all this content and more and support a starving artist. We made it, team. We made it to the end of our drawing. Look at that. That is a very accurate foot. And that's something you should be incredibly proud of. Not only is it a foot, which is very hard, but it's a side of the foot which we don't usually see. And we've also had to construct a lot of the lines ourselves. We've had to figure out where to put things. So it's hopefully a real sense of achievement. Now, next month, we are going to look at something completely different. But for now, embrace what you've done. Put it all over Instagram. Tag me and pop it on your fridge and say, yeah, I fucking drew that. All right, team, well done. And I'll see you next week for another video.